Stop and listen carefully. No matter who you are, where you come from, or what you believe in, just stop and listen carefully. What I'm about to tell you is affecting every human being on earth. And you can't run away from this. Stop and think twice about what you believe in. Animals have been going around circles all over the earth and also dropping dead. 500,000 cattle died like this in Australia and 80,000 horses. That's when they did the first study of this. Since then, there's been another 5,000 drop dead in cancers, 650,000 sheep in the Middle East, and also in the wild. Birds falling out the sky in more than 850 locations. Some get their bearing back, some just drop dead, some drop dead and some get their bearing back. Like they have vertigo. We're seeing the same thing with peer reports, with Ovine syndromes worldwide escalating. And we now have peer reports from every hospital in the world. And let me tell you something before we go further. We know they're losing their magnetic pulse, their sixth sense, their natural abilities, their natural selections, their natural order, their sixth sense, their 27 biofields. We know they're losing them. And what's happening around the world is we're slowly going into a sixth mass extinction, stripped from the sixth sense for the sixth time. And we know that in these peer reports. They call it a zombie apocalypse or a body snatching virus on peer reports worldwide. They don't really know what it is. It's an EMP pulse, it's magnetic fields, changing the shaman on the planet, sending animals around circles over the earth, even fish in the ocean. Okay, the shaman and the shaman frequencies has something to do with our reality, with an outside influence. Now, NASA calls it a comatization or like a zombie apocalypse. NASA themselves. A comatization. Numbness. People losing their five senses as well with taste and smell. A zombie apocalypse, they call it. A body snatching virus, they call it. When you look at the top scholars in the world and also New Age belief systems, right, and people on social media platform trying to teach people with light power and energy vibrations and frequencies, or love, or the placebo effect, or thinking outside the mind, being program engineered, like the Matrix documentary, those who think instinctively tune their program. Just stop and revise your perception about everything you're learning and who you follow and what you believe in. Because we can prove now that 98.7% is anti-clockwise with their conclusions. In every study done, every book smart education, everything we suffer with mental disorder and defects, we die prematurely getting younger all the time. In every single one of us, except for 1.3%. They're the only ones that know what the rest do not know, because they're clockwise, without mental disorders and defects, without stress and anxiety, without confusion, frustration, delusion, and paranoia, without their body cells going corrupt collision during the daytime. They can repair 24 hours a day. So they know something the rest of the world doesn't know. No matter what people think across the whole world. People are trapped in their mentality with a voice in the mind that's been declared ultimately designed for human extinction. That's only a personality. We listen to our personalities in our mind, and we're trapped in our own personality with amnesia, and we can't use our natural process and our natural selection with our natural order, with our genetic memory and ancestral tools coded in our own DNA. We've lost those abilities with amnesia. We can only use 7 to 15% of our brain, and some can use 100%. And when they can use 100%, they're far more advanced than anybody else in the world. When they live in their mind, with the highest IQ people in the world, they can only use 15% of their brain. They're missing something. They do not know what they do, no matter what comes out of their mouth. We have an outside influence, okay, called divine power to command nature. And most people are oblivious to this because they don't have the power. They can't harness the power because the mind does not know what it's doing and doesn't realize the outside influence that controls their power, because they don't have any in their aura, anti-clockwise. And they're bolted in DNA. DNA is clearly the book of life. We now can confirm with solid evidence that everybody suffers stress and fear and dies prematurely from stress and fear. Not from natural age. Not from their natural abilities and their natural selection. They can live to be a lot older. A lot older. And everybody dies prematurely from stress-related diseases with amnesia and keep coming back in a reincarnation trap. The greatest deception ever created was evolution theory with artificial intelligence. And people believe in it because they're molded into it. Into artificial intelligence in their minds, right? In their 5 sense world with a high IQ. That's why they're restricted and so limited and can't use their natural process with their natural selection and natural order with their biofields. They have 32 senses: dimensional thinking, remote viewing, mental telepathy, ESP, right? Telekinesis, levitation, false space and time with deja vu to predict the future, prevent what's going to happen, with dimensional thinking with multiple layers and a universal connection with codependent power, the divine power to command nature, right? And it's in your DNA, the book of life. Okay, it's in your DNA with genetic memory and answers to tools that's in dormancy. So we have amnesia in that part of our brain because it doesn't work. So think about that for a moment. Stress and fear and anxiety controls the whole world because their body cells are corruption and illusion during the daytime. And it's everything they die from prematurely and every single thing they suffer from, no matter what comes out of their mouth. Imagine most people beyond the point of return and think so naturally, with unnatural selection, so much they have no idea what they're doing. And most don't care because they can't feel it anymore. They lost their aura. They lost 95 to 99% of their feelings. And they don't even know because they come to their own conclusion with reasoning. And that's 5 senses of negative feels in their conscious mentality, which is only a personality. A conscious mentality, consciousness is your mentality, and it's only a personality. Outside the mind is spirituality, where you can have divine power to command nature. Look at the movie Limitless. He takes a drug, bred manna, from a plant called Maya, and he uses 100% of his brain with a drug. He comes right out of his mind, and he has 7-fold wisdom and knowledge. And when he comes out of his mind, you don't suffer mental disorders and defects at all. You're free. Like the movie Matrix documentary, Keanu Reeves has got his head stuck with the light at the end of the tunnel and controls his vessel from the outside in and beats resurrection. He knows how to resurrect, right? That's what the movie's about. The resurrection of humanity. To think outside the mind. Those that think instinctively tune out program and take the red pill and go for every rabbit hole and stick their head through the light in the tunnel in the cave and stick their head out the cave, as Plato describes in 15 books, where the sun's 10 times shinier and the grass is 10 times greener. And then you can master your own mind from the outside in. When you stick your head through the light in the tunnel, then you know what freedom is and the liberation is, because everything's in your mind. Everything you suffer from is a placebo effect. And the placebo effect is anti-clockwise in 98.7% of the population. And the placebo effect that they spread is like a wildfire that affects fauna and nature worldwide, that's collapsed between 38 and 98% nutritious value and sending atoms around circles over the earth. It's our placebo that spreads like a virus in the mentality we live in the delusional state, in our mind. And we don't even believe in it. We don't even care. We don't have any care factor. We don't know what real love is. We have been disconnected from codependent power. The God-given gift we come into this world with, in our body, in our DNA, we have no faith in. Because we don't have faith in ourselves, in our own natural selection life, in a natural order, with our natural selection, our natural organic motor skills. We don't even have faith in our own biological genes to use our ancestor tools that gives us the divine power to command nature with superhuman abilities and supernatural power. And only a handful of people in the world's got it. And they're the only ones that really knows. In the most powerful documents on earth and most powerful DNA study ever done, with the biggest think tank, Miracles and Hospitals, and the most powerful scholars in the world. With the book Freedom by Jan McGivers, they found the cure of the human condition is going to save humanity. The Holy Grail of Life, held by 16,000 top scholars in the world, and the most powerful merge ever in human history. With When I Breathe and Bring Him, the Holy Breath of Life, with the most powerful confirmation on earth, who has 27 world records for superhuman abilities, 17 Guinness Book of Records, 27 times more powerful immune system than any other human being on earth. And these are the masterminds of their own mind that has these abilities recorded with DNA studies done and the most powerful confirmation on earth. There's 113 people like Winoff and myself and Mastermind Xing that can manage the power and master the power, the divine power. We have divinity. Nobody else does. Some of us can levitate a 1-ton stone. 500 years old, right, with longevity. 257 with a birth certificate in Shula Masterminds. That has the divine power to command nature and can also levitate a 1-ton stone. Westerners cannot levitate a thimble because they have no spirituality at all. They only have mentality. You know, Christ walked on water and brought someone back to life. And I did that in 1992, brought someone back to life with the most powerful peer reports, 7 peer reports, and the most powerful CCTV documents, right? CCTV evidence in the world. She wrote the most powerful poem in 2003, The One and Only. And I'm the one and only with the most powerful confirmation on earth, with the biggest study ever done. The one and only. Worldwide #1 poem for 8 months in 2003, and I am the one and only. She was told to write that poem, and it's clear with documents and biological evidence that I am one of a kind worldwide that can do that. The only one. On the biggest study ever done, with the most powerful confirmation on earth with DNA, mental health research, and the biggest think tank in the world. So imagine the divine power that you have when you can do what I can and more, because you can. If I can teach others to do that, I can teach you too. Because I've taught plenty. I've taught plenty of people to do what I can and more in the biggest study we've done, confirmed, backed up with evidence by Jeremy McGivers, who found the largest human beings born on earth that can do what Christ can and more than if possible in DNA, the Book of Life. And that's what he tells you. They found the largest human beings born on earth that can do everything Christ can and more in the biggest study we've done with natural selection and the natural order in life. So believe me, 99.999% of Westerners throw stones at me because they haven't got a care factor. They only listen to the voice of mind without a care factor, and only care about themselves and their own opinions, artificially intelligence. Haven't got a faith system, haven't got any faith at all, but I'm the only one. And you're warned about the Bible, I'll be here and teach the great resurrection man and protect the elect with the most powerful combination on earth, the Book of Life, DNA, the Book of Life. Christ tells you it's about the blood of the Lamb and following the woman's seed in the bloodline. That's where your memory is. He said, go back to your childhood, follow my footsteps, and you can do what I can and more. And don't think with the mind. He said, think outside the mind, over and above and beyond the mind. He woke up from amnesia at 24 and discovered who he was and said, I'm son of David, son of Abraham, with genetic memory. So believe me, I know. When you wake up from amnesia and your genetic memory, you'll know. Simple as that. Because it comes to you automatically, from out of the blue, for a transformation for 3.5 years. When you cross over, then the memories come back. It'll come to you out of the blue with the universal language. And you'll never suffer stress again. You'll go through a transformation where you break free from your own personality and your own mentality and go back in your primal state in your innocence. And believe me, it's one hell of an inflection point. But it's also the greatest time to be alive when you get it. And most people won't get it because they're beyond the point of return, trapped in their mind, and we can no longer change the way they think and the way they judge in their mind. And that's why they're beyond the point of return in a majority, declared worldwide. Because they cannot think outside the mind with their natural selection and natural order, and they're not getting it because the mind controls them that much in their own comfort zone. And 98.7% of the population today is sitting in their own comfort zone, whether they believe it or not. They can say what they like. DNA doesn't lie. That's why DNA is so critical, you have no idea. Do not believe the voice in your mind. Do not believe yourself because you're affected by this. You're all suffering. Don't live in denial because everybody does. Don't live in denial because if you do, you're going to 6 mass extinction strip from the 6th sense for the 6th time. That's going to escalate so far beyond your mind. You need your 6th sense to get through this. You need to be in your primal state. You need to cross over. It's the only way you'll survive what's going to come. You must be in your primordial state. You must cross over. You must resurrect. You must go through the rebirth. And it's a crossover back in your primordial state to be innocent. And we put you through a 40-day test with We're Not Breathing program and the book Freedom, the Holy Grail of Life and the Holy Breath of Life. And trust me, it works. And that's all that matters. It's the most powerful process in the world in 40 days of fasting where you change selections, unnatural selection, and go across to natural selection automatically. And then things come to you out of the blue. And trust me, you'll get the most powerful confirmation you've ever had in your life with a divine intervention where you'll see the truth and feel the truth like you never have before in your life. Don't eat for 40 days. Take zinc, iron, magnesium, vitamin C, B12. Drink water with salicylic salt, not too much, just a little bit every day. Drink lots of liquid. Get off screens. Mind your own business. Keep to yourself. Isolate yourself or go off the grid, whichever. You can do it at home with family. Just isolate. Get off screens. Don't get involved with constant conversations with any kind of behavior. Keep your eyes off things, eyes shut as much as you can. Get into your inner self, in your sixth sense. Meditate with We're Not Breathing, who's won a Nobel Prize without a condenser to recreate the second secretion and the holy breath of life that restructures your biological system with your natural process in your DNA, the book of life. With We're Not Breathing, you listen to the book Freedom with Jeremy McGinnis on the World Transformation Movement on audio. You go through this for 40 days and you push the oxygen as much as you can. You create the euphoria of ecstasy, MDMA, methamphetamine, opiates, DMT, high as a kite. You push the oxygen and you create the adrenochrome. You oxidize your blood. You create the second secretion with the ladder, Jacob's ladder, the Neuralink, the tree of life, with the gut feeling survival mode, the chakra, the very self-preservation of life that activates the molecules and your body cells in the most positive fields with your sixth sense and your 27 biofields and your 27 fields, your 27 senses outside the 5 senses. You have 32 senses. They are the divine power to command nature in your own body, in your own DNA. 27 senses. It's book Revelation 27. It stands for the Holy Spirit, divine light. It stands for divine power to command nature in your own body, in your own DNA. The book of life is in your genetic memory, in a genetic process, and it comes to you out of the blue when you activate it and cross over in your primal state, a God-given gift that God gave you. As you go in a new timeline of sevenfold wisdom to live in the tree of life, where things come to you that's so powerful, with 10 times more fruit, 10 times more nutrition value, 10 times more oxygen, 10 times more holy breath of life, with the holy power, right? Divine power to command nature. And when you cross over, every one of you will have this power. Every one of you will be in the Christ image like this, to do everything that Christ can and more in your own biological system, in your own vessel, to command nature from the outside in. You'll control your vessel from the outside in like Keanu Reeves, and you'll be the death experience, and you won't suffer nothing ever again. No more suffering. No more confusion, frustration, delusion, and paranoia. No more suffering. You go freedom. Freedom from the human condition and every single thing you suffer. And unfortunately, most people will not cross over and they will not make it. You have to deal with that. You have to use a two-edged sword to divide between family, lovers, and friends, because believe me, they're not going to make it, and you know that. They don't have that kind of faith. They'd rather believe in the voice of mind that's going to take them into a human extinction. Because it's a sixth mass extinction, stripping the sixth sense for the sixth time, and it's the voice of the mind that's a personality that's taken them there. Believe it or not. The voice that's in your mind is ultimately designed for human extinction, and it's only personality in your consciousness, a mental event, a mental person, illusion, imagination. The only voices in your mind to believe in your own truth, manifest your own truth, and come to your own conclusion with reasoning. And that's the age and affairs, because it's your mind. It's your mentality. It's your personality. It's not your spirituality. The whole world today is suffering stress and fear and dying prematurely, no matter what comes out of their mouth. Every single Westerner is suffering stress and mental disorders and DNA defects going out of control. 600 to 6,000 defected genes in every Westerner. In 98.7% of their kids, 77% born with chronic diseases because they're a species in denial. Declared 2003. They are declared to be crazy, and their parents are crazy in 1999. And they live in denial on a screen all day and avoid the most powerful confirmation on earth. Because they only believe in their own truth, with their voice mind that tells them to do that, in a comfort zone. And it's only a comfort zone. They all suffer stress, fear, anxiety, confusion, frustration, delusion, and paranoia. And they're over-exaggerating worldwide with their own opinions. And that's all they care about, from stress and anxiety. So you're watching 98.7% of people on screens that are controlled by stress and anxiety and can only use up to 15% of their brain, and their body cells going corruption illusion during the daytime. You know what that means? You immediately resonate with people that are mental. You're not using a codependent power with the unit of a relationship. A codependent relationship, a unit of codependent power. You're not thinking outside the mind with a God-given gift that God gives you, so you never suffer again from the confusion, frustration, delusion, and paranoia that you're all suffering from. Stress and anxiety and fear. And you can't lie to yourself. You got to stop lying to yourself, and you must stop living in denial and face this head on, because believe me, it's a natural order and a natural selection taking place worldwide, and no one can run away from this. If they don't cross back over the primordial state with their sixth sense, they're simply not going to make it, and there's nothing that can get them out of here. None of their artificial intelligence or implementation or any of their tools or the grammar they select with the barcode they're in is going to get them out of here, because it's artificial. If they're not using natural selection with a natural order, right, with the right tools, which is loyalty, honor, respect, moments, inspiration, encouragement, they're the most powerful in tune to power, codependent power, the EMP pulse. And if you're not in those EMP pulse with codependent power, you don't have the power, because you're not giving the power. If you're not in that power, if you're not in that mindset to think outside the mind with a relationship, because it's the only thing that works. The quantum mechanics of a relationship is you're in tune to codependent power. Nothing else works, because the rest comes automatically with the universal language, with a vortex of information. As you see in the movie Limits, sevenfold wisdom and laws, it's outside the mind. It's not the mind. It's outside the mind. It's not the mind. The mind doesn't know. The mind's extremely complicated, and it becomes your own worst enemy and plays tricks and game in you, and you become your own prison, your own warden in your mind. It's a known fact. It always was. You're trapped in your mind with psychological behavior and self-centered ego into yourself, trapped with amnesia in a reincarnation trap, and you keep coming back in the greatest deception ever created, and that's the reincarnation trap. That's the evolution theory. The evolution theory is the most powerful confirmation on earth that's a sign on reversal calling the greatest deception ever created in human history. The evolution theory was the greatest deception ever created in human history, into Dajjal, into the deluge, into a pretender, into a Hollywood character, and you don't even know who you are. You don't even know where you come from, because you're trapped in your mind and personality, and you have to break free from it, because it's the only way you're going to break free from everything that you suffer from. The whole world is artificial when they're controlled by stress, fear, and anxiety in their body cells and corruption, illusion during the daytime, and can only appear 3.5 hours a night, and can only use 15% of their brain. Do you understand that? Those that think outside the mind can master their mind and use 100% of their brain with the divine power and divine power to command nature. And they're the biggest, most powerful, elect people in the world, teaching with the right tools, because nobody else is. They're all controlled by stress, fear, anxiety, confusion, frustration, delusion, paranoia, over-exaggeration with their own truth and their own opinions, and that's what their books are written on in every mental health research. Their opinions, and they're all wrong. Declared by 45,000 teachers and 16,000 top scholars. Their book smart education with mental disorders and defects is all an opinion, because the boldest reliability is anti-clockwise. So none of these species are correct. Those that are clockwise can genetically repair 24 hours a day with every single thing you suffer, and have no mental disorders, no defects, which means they are the truth. They can do what Christ can and more, and don't suffer one goddamn thing. That means everybody else is full of BS. The world and every actor on social media platform that wants to make a name for themselves and self-proclaimed prophets do not know what they do, and do not know what they're missing out on in the most powerful confirmation on earth, because I'm the only one of a kind that knows what they don't know. And when I can teach people to cross over when the most powerful confirmation on earth and DNA studies, take a look at my testimonies. Take a look at my followers, because you won't see them anywhere else on earth. You won't see anybody else crossing over back in their primordial state and going through the transformation the way that we do. Only 1.3% is going across back in their primal state where their DNA is clockwise. The rest is anti-clockwise, controlled by stress and fear, and don't care. In a massive global delusional state, and that means they'll never know until they wake up from amnesia and the reincarnation trap. And believe me, it's one hell of an inflection point, but you can't get it wrong. You get the most powerful confirmation on earth, the most powerful divine intervention, and you see it, and you feel it, and you never get deceived again. You see the future. You see deja vu. You see how beautiful the timeline's going to be that we're going into, and you will not suffer. Once you cross over and you see it and you feel it, you're saved. Then you go for a transformation in your DNA, the book of life, and it'll come to you out of the blue. It's a wow factor. It'll leave you gobsmacked and speechless because you never knew. You never knew in here. And that's when you wake up from amnesia and realize you did not know what you're doing in here. And then you realize why Christ said to everybody, Father, forgive them, they do not know what they do. Then you understand why he says, walk with the enemy, work with the enemy, love the enemy, because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know any better. They're trapped so deep and so limited into themselves, they don't even know what they're missing out on. When you go from 10% of your brain to 100%, boy, it's a hell of a confirmation and a hell of a clarification. It's a clarification so powerful and so high when you go deep in We're Not Breathing into your sixth sense and you activate your Neuralink, the tree of life, and it takes you there, right? In a 40-day fasting. We're Not Breathing in the book Freedom, the Holy Grail of Life and the Holy Breath of Life. And I'll take you there. And you'll see me at the end of the tunnel. I will drag you right out of your vessel. Right out of you, right? I'll take you right out of your shell. I'll take you to the light of the tunnel and you'll get the confirmation yourself. You'll see it and you feel it, and then you'll know who I am. Because my followers are going through this and discover who I really am, that the Father is using me and this vessel to take them to the light of the tunnel with the most powerful confirmation and the most powerful divine intervention with real love. A soulmate relationship and the real love they never felt before in their life. Do not rob yourself. Do not deceive yourself. Your voice in the mind will oppress you and suppress you and prevent you from having the most powerful confirmation in the time that you're in. Freedom, the liberation, the greatest time to be alive. Do not miss out on this. Okay, do not miss out on this.